Breaking news has rocked the wrestling world to its core, sending shockwaves through fans and performers alike as the unthinkable has happened. Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah, is no longer fighting just for his place in wrestling history but for his very ability to live a normal life. In a horrific twist of fate that unfolded during what should have been a routine Monday Night Raw match, Seth Rollins sustained a catastrophic spinal injury that left him paralyzed from the waist down, an injury that experts now say could have been entirely prevented if basic safety standards had been met. While WWE executives carry on in their corporate offices counting profits and celebrating earnings, Becky Lynch, Seth's wife, is grappling with a reality no one should ever face. Sitting at her husband's hospital bedside as doctors whisper about spinal cord damage, paralysis, and experimental treatments, while their young daughter Rue asks why daddy can't stand anymore. The match itself wasn't some dangerous high-risk stunt. It was a standard German suplex, a move performed in thousands of matches without incident. But on that fateful night, under the bright lights and roaring crowd, something went horribly wrong. Sources close to the WWE ring crew revealed that the ring had not been inspected for weeks. Its support beams were loose, the canvas threadbare, and the padding beneath it worn down to the point of being useless. When Kevin Owens executed the suplex, the ring gave way just slightly, just enough that when Seth's body hit the mat, it struck with the brutal finality of a fall onto concrete. Fans in the front row described the sound as a sharp, sickening crack, one that pierced through the crowd's roar and left an unforgettable echo in the arena. Becky Lynch wasn't at the arena. She was watching the broadcast from their home in Iowa, cheering as usual, until the moment she froze, her instincts as a wife and partner telling her something was dreadfully wrong. It wasn't WWE who called her. It was Kevin Owens, barely able to speak through tears as he whispered the words no loved one wants to hear, "You need to get here. It's bad. Really bad." What she found when she reached the hospital was devastating. Seth, the man who had once headlined WrestleMania, couldn't move. Doctors spoke of vertebrae fractures, spinal cord compression, surgeries, and long-shot hopes. But what's most infuriating is that while Becky tried to absorb the worst moment of her life, WWE was already preparing damage control. Before Seth had even been stabilized in surgery, WWE executives were writing corporate statements, crafting PR spins, and scrubbing footage from their official channels. By the next morning, the match had been re-edited, showing Kevin Owens winning with no mention of the devastating injury. But fans captured the truth on their phones, raw, grainy clips showing Seth's body contorting unnaturally, Kevin Owens' immediate panic, and an agonizing delay in medical response. Eyewitnesses report that WWE had cut costs so drastically that only one EMT and a trainer were ringside, woefully inadequate for emergencies. Those first minutes, often the difference between partial recovery and permanent paralysis, were wasted. As Becky tried to piece together what had happened, WWE's legal team approached her with a so-called generous offer, a multi-million-dollar settlement in exchange for silence. She was given 72 hours to sign a non-disclosure agreement that would muzzle her for life, to give up her voice and trade justice for money. But Becky, a fighter in and out of the ring, refused. She told them no. And then came the surgeries. The first operation to stabilize Seth's spine took 12 hours. At first, doctors had cautious hope. But then came the infection, the second surgery, and even worse news: more swelling, more compression, more damage. WWE, meanwhile, had begun challenging Seth's insurance claims, questioning whether the injury was even work-related, even hiring investigators to try and prove it was a pre-existing condition or his own fault. While Seth learned to use catheters and adjust to a wheelchair, WWE tried to deny their role in his suffering. Medical bills piled up: $300 an hour therapy sessions, $150,000 in home modifications, $50,000 monthly for treatments insurance wouldn't touch. Yet the same company pleading poverty awarded its CEO a $25 million bonus and bought a $30 million private jet. Becky's breaking point came 3 months after the accident when WWE summoned her for what she thought was a meeting to discuss Seth's backstage role. Instead, she found a room full of executives and PR strategists with a script ready for Seth to read on television. The script thanked fans, described his retirement as an unfortunate outcome of wrestling's inherent risks, and asked viewers to accept this tragedy as part of the business. No apology. No accountability. And when Becky refused, they threatened her career. But she didn't flinch. "My husband will never walk again because of your negligence," she told them. "And you want him to be grateful. You want me to pretend this was just an accident. I will burn this company to the ground before I let you bury the truth." Wrestlers began quietly showing support, anonymously, cautiously. Those in AEW and Impact Wrestling were more vocal, with Tony Khan publicly criticizing WWE's lax safety standards. WWE retaliated with legal threats, cease-and-desist letters, and a propaganda campaign pressuring current talent to defend the company's safety record. But it didn't stop Becky. She hired attorney Patricia Gonzalez and launched a legal battle, uncovering damning documents, emails showing that WWE executives knew about faulty ring conditions and reduced medical staffing, even discussing whether the cost savings justified the risk of serious injury. A whistleblower, former ring crew supervisor Marcus Rodriguez, came forward with maintenance logs proving the ring used during Seth's match had been flagged for replacement 2 months prior. Internal memos revealed that WWE proceeded with the faulty ring despite warnings from their own insurance provider. WWE not only ignored safety red flags, they gambled with Seth's life. Now, as the lawsuits mount and OSHA investigates WWE for workplace safety violations, the consequences are becoming clear. Sponsors are growing uneasy. Wrestlers are requesting releases. Contract negotiations are demanding safety clauses. The industry is changing, slowly, but undeniably. In a powerful act of defiance, Becky terminated her WWE contract and released a video recorded beside Seth in his hospital room. "They want me to stay quiet," she said. "But I won't. Not when other wrestlers are still at risk." The video went viral. The truth was out. WWE's legal team moved fast, threatening to sue for $50 million, but it was too late. The story had taken on a life of its own. Inspired by Becky's courage, other performers began sharing their own horror stories of unsafe working conditions. As the industry reels, some companies have begun instituting real safety reforms, more medical staff, better equipment checks, and genuine conversations about unionization and collective bargaining. Seth's injury has become the symbol of a much larger problem and a long overdue reckoning. In the midst of this chaos, Seth remains resilient. His life has changed forever: daily therapy, wheelchair adjustments, tears from his daughter, and a wife who won't let his pain be silenced. The financial toll is immense, but the emotional cost is incalculable. And yet, Seth has said, "I don't want sympathy. I want change." This story isn't just about one man's injury. It's about an industry that too often puts entertainment before humanity, profit before protection. Whether the wrestling world learns from this tragedy will define its future. One thing is certain: Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins will keep fighting until no performer has to suffer the way they have. The curtain has been pulled back. The truth is out. And what happens next could either save professional wrestling, or expose even more broken bodies and shattered dreams.